I'm here in Uganda at Mum Resort, and I have some leaders with me from the community, and there's some things that I would like for them to share about their ministry and work. And so at this time, please introduce yourself and tell us about what it is that you do in the community.
My name is Wandera David. I'm the senior pastor of Mbale Community Church in the village of Mbale, in Mbale Parish, Emmanuel Sub-County, Mayuge District, in the eastern part of Uganda. I'm married to Rebecca. We have now stayed together for the last 20 years. And with her we have 7 children, 6 biological children, 2 girls and 4 boys, and then another adopted son, Patrick, who is an orphan. Among the 6 children we have, presently we have Joseph. He's our second born. In the village of Mbale, we have a church, which is Mbale Community Church, and where I serve as senior pastor. And we also have Mbale Community School on the same ground, where I'm the director.
All right. And could you share with us how it is that Mbale School and the ministry, the church, got started? Where did this all begin?
We started the church about 10 years ago in a 10 square feet room. It was Rebecca, I, and another sister called Susan. So after some time, we outgrew that place and then hired a hall within the trading center where we served for about 3 years. So when we were there was a lot of persecution, especially from the Muslims. They did not want us there. Because of the grace of the Lord provided some funds, about 1.5 million Uganda shillings, and we bought a 70 feet by 200 feet. That's where we are now. But before we set up the structures as they are today, after we bought the plot, we came under a mango tree. That was, I think, several years back. So we were under a mango tree because we did not have a structure. We were fellowshipping under a mango tree for about 1 year. By the Lord's grace, through prayer, we got some funds and set up a temporary structure. That's where now we fellowship from.
Okay. Yeah. And you mentioned some things about the school as far as who you started with. Who were your first students?
After we had started, after we had built, we had constructed the temporal structure, there was a concern about the children, and the Lord spoke to us about helping the children. At first, before we did anything, we were zealous and really we wanted to do a lot for the children because our church had a very big number of children. The children were more than adults and were responding. But the community was so needed and the children were needed. Some were orphans and some were vulnerable. So having found out the need, we thought that it was important to help. But because of lack of funds, we began with preparing Christmas parties. And for 2 years we did that. And we gathered a number of children who just came for the Christmas meals. but that could not help. So after some time, we thought of starting a small school in the church structure. And we used the church structure to start up something like a kindergarten, something like a small school. So we began with nursery and began to teach slowly by slowly. But because of the grace of the Lord, we have been growing tremendously. The children have been coming, and the parents have been bringing them. So because of that, we have been growing. We started with 15 children, but now we are at a population of more than 300, around 305 children now. So the Lord has been blessing us.
Okay. Well, what about the vision that you have now that the students are coming? I know there has to be a vision in you for what you want to accomplish with the children.
Now, our vision for the children is that through the children we may convert, we may be used by the Lord to convert the standard of living of the villages. Because now, through the children, we believe if we bless the children with education, the environment may change, because now when we train the children and they can get employment, they can be more informed, they can get employment, they can be more informed, and also with time, we may have able Christians, and even the citizens can be encouraged because of what we are doing. We are aiming at making self-reliant people in the villages, the society.
Okay.
Yes, and we are thinking that we can transform that society from a peasant society to a professional one because of what we are doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what about the vision for the school itself? You mentioned that you had several structures. Is there more that you're desiring to do with the establishment of the structures of the school?
Yes, we desire and pray to the Lord that we may get provision to construct, because now we have a few temporary structures that the children are using as classrooms, but they are not enough, and at the same time they are temporal. But we are praying to the Lord and seeking the Lord for provision that we may get some funds to enable us construct permanent classrooms and construct things like libraries, things like offices, so that the school can really be a school in its formality.
Okay. Now, what about some of the needs that the children have?
Really, our children are so needy, and they are in a needy community. And we just want to thank the Lord for our partners who have come in to assist with mattresses, to assist with blankets, to assist with mosquito nets. The society, our children are really needed, and they need several things. Things like we need things like uniforms. We need things like shoes because they are barefooted. We need things like blankets. We need things like mattresses. Even scholastic materials like books. We really need several things in order to take on the school, so that the children can be comfortable when they come for studies. And we also have a special need of the borehole, because between our school and the water source is about 2-3 kilometers. So we have to send children to go for water. And we are praying that it would be an advantage if we get a borehole within the school compound to provide clean water.
All right. So you were mentioning that while the receiving donations is good and it is helpful, that there's something more that you are really looking for from the community to be able to sustain the school and the community itself. Could you talk to us more about that?
Yes, we're thinking that being assisted is good, receiving donations is good, but on the same time, we are mobilizing the student, we are mobilizing the parents, the guardians, so that we can work together as a team it would be hard for the donors to come in even with food, to come in with things like providing shelter and several things. There are things they cannot do. In recently, we had a meeting with the guardians and spoke much about food production, and they were arguing, they were willing to really grow food for the children, only that they are hampered with lack of things like ox plows and oxen themselves or a tractor. And we were thinking of beginning with oxen and ox plows because tractors are expensive.
Okay, all right. And is there anything specifically that we may not have discussed or covered that's in your heart, something that you want others to know just about your work, or something else that you would like to see happen?
Yes, there are many things we have not talked about. One major thing is that we are our church is in a temporary structure, and we are now thinking that we transform and come to something like a permanent structure building. It would be an advantage if we got a church structure, a church hall. We can use it as a church hall, and at the same time, we can use it as a school hall. Whenever there are big things like examinations or meetings of the school, we can use that for the same purpose. And another thing is that between our location and in the town where we purchase things like chalks, where we buy scholastic materials, there's a distance of about 8 kilometers. And because of lack of funds, we use manual bikes, but it would be an advantage if we got a motorbike to bridge between Mbale, the Mbale village, and Iganga town. It is a great need that a motorbike can really serve. A vehicle may not be all that good at the start because of maintenance costs and several other things, but yeah, a motorbike is easier to maintain, and we can begin with that. Then another thing is that we are also thinking of making this a formal school because now some pupils are under the mango trees. We don't have enough classrooms, but we are thinking of making permanent buildings. And secondly, we are thinking of also we are thinking of making the permanent buildings and also constructing a permanent office for the school. We don't have an office yet.
Is there more? I do have a final question, but I don't want to.
Yes, there are many things really because our community is needed. So um, we are thinking of making a linkage, especially as far as the expenses of the school is concerned. It is really challenging to keep the expenses of the school. It is quite expensive for us and for our community because many of these children do not pay fees. Many of them are orphans. Many of them are vulnerable by the need an education. So we would request that um, we get partners to stand with us so that for individual children, because if a child was being sponsored with $50 um, a term of the Uganda, according to the Uganda curriculum, is 3 months, and if for $50, an orphan or another child can chip up in school for 3 months.
And that was the question that I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Because it's important
Yeah.
that we get support. We don't want to see any children miss the opportunity for education or have to go without. So that is very important. All right. Well, that's all the questions that I have right now. Are there any comments that any others would like to make? Okay. Well, I do. Oh, yes. No? Okay. Well, I am very glad to have spent this time with you. It has been amazing. I can't wait to come back next year. I believe that during this time, between now and then, that there will be responses to some of the things that you've communicated, that God will provide in the many areas. And so we just have an expectation. And again, I do thank you very much for your time.
Amen. We are also thankful. Thank you for coming, and thank you for becoming great partners for us. Because through you, our orphanages have been provided for, and the school population is growing because of you, and even the church. The church is now growing very rapidly because of your response to our needs.
Awesome.
So you're welcome, and we welcome you once again. We pray that the Lord will continue to use you in this community.
All right.